It's just a shocking turn of events. The police telling this distraught family that they needed to wait 24 hours before they could report their autistic child missing. What's your response?
Thank you, Michelle, for the opportunity to respond. The Provincial Commissioner actually visited the family on Monday, and we have taken responsibility. That should not have happened. That is not what is supposed to happen. There is a national instruction which regulates the process to be followed when cases of missing people are reported at the police station. There is absolutely no waiting period. That case should have been given priority attention, and it wasn't. And over and above that national instruction, the former Minister of Police, Minister Mbalula, gave an instruction last year to the police to prioritize all investigations of crimes against women and children. So it's the national instruction as well as the minister's instruction. So unfortunately, the worst happened, but we are taking responsibility as the police, and the provincial commissioner has actually vowed to make sure that the necessary disciplinary steps are taken against those members.
I mean, as you just said that, my heart just sank for the family of this little girl, because that could not have been any kind of comfort, even that visit from the Provincial Police Commissioner. It cannot come as any kind of comfort that police should have acted, and they didn't.
Unfortunately, we cannot reverse what happened, Michelle. That's the reality. But even the family said so, that we will use this as a learning step, as something that has opened our eyes and our minds to better plan things in future, because it could also be an internal communication problem. However, we have police stations where missing cases of missing people were reported, and there were successes in those regards because they followed what the national instruction says it must be done.
So you're saying disciplinary steps will be taken. We are showing live visuals coming from a march that is taking place in Mamelodi as we're speaking to the Gauteng spokesperson for the police here in studio. So you were saying that disciplinary processes will now unfold against the person or persons responsible for the necessary action not being taken. What will that disciplinary measure entail? I mean, there is no steeper dereliction of duty than this.
Well, unfortunately, we have internal processes that get followed. The Provincial Commissioner sanctioned an immediate investigation on Monday to see what actually happened. And of course, we'll have to hear the CSC staff, their side of the story. Whether it's ignorance, but that's still no excuse. Like I said, we cannot reverse what happened, but we will be guided by the outcome of the investigation. If it means people have to be suspended, that will have to be done.
And in terms of communicating the processes to the necessary people to prevent this kind of tragedy from not happening again, are you taking real steps to make sure that everyone is up to speed, especially in a country where we're facing such levels of violence against women and children, that everyone knows exactly what needs to be done when a missing child is being reported?
Like I said, Katlego's case has actually made us sit back and think again, that is our communication enough and is it effective, especially to frontline service members. So we've actually this morning, as I'm speaking now as the head of communication, we've embarked on a campaign where we're going to intensify our communications internally, focusing specifically on frontline staff, because they are the window to the SAPS. Cases get reported at the front line, at the CSC. So it doesn't help if management knows what is supposed to be done, but that doesn't get translated because it hits hard on the community. And like I said, we feel really sorry about the death of Katlego as management, but we are hoping that, in fact, we are planning to make sure that this never happens to any child again.
Absolutely. Well, what is your message to members of the community, to families, mothers, fathers, family members, when they are reporting something like the case of a missing child and they're not getting the necessary help, as was the case here? What should they do?
There is a complaints line that they can use at that point, but they can also demand to see station management. because in the event where they get to a police station, number one, first and foremost, and I think this is a common misconception where people think there is a waiting period, others think it's 24 hours, others think it's 48 hours. There is no such a thing. The new national instruction repeals anything that was ever put in place before. That a case of a missing person should be given the utmost priority. So they should actually demand that they get attention and demand to see the management station commander or even the head of detectives.
Just such cold comfort to this family, and you're the face of the police that we're speaking to now, so you're the person we're directing this at. In terms of support for the family going forward, is there any such support in place, perhaps from the police, from government, that you're aware of?
Like I said, the provincial commissioner was there. We have the employee health and wellness section. They are fully equipped with social workers, psychologists, and all of those. They accompany the provincial commissioner to the family to go and deal with this. And like I said, what came out also on Monday, we've now been prioritizing over and above children and women, also other vulnerable groups like your LGBTI. Autism is something that I think we actually need to also start learning about and learning more. So we do have support in that regard.